ding, dun, dun, ding, dun, 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 ding, dun, dun, dun. Something happening over here, but what it is isn't exactly clear. Ding, there's a man sitting in a chair. Bing, he's rolling dice like he just don't care. Everybody gotta stop. Children, look around. What's that sound? It's 4th edition. Bow, bow. I told you, whenever I talk about this, I feel like I'm talking about Vietnam. 4th edition. I was still talking about 4th edition. Feels like I'm always talking about 4th edition. For some, that war ended long ago, but for me, I'm still fighting it. I'm still there. It was inevitable that with all this 5th edition, TSR, Pathfinder, Magic the Gathering, Future of the Hobby stuff, that somehow this would all revolve back to 4th edition and the 4th edition wars. And I think that's where it all started. It's not to say there wasn't issues within the gaming community and the gaming fan base before 4th edition D&D. There were. There always will be. Role-playing game players are very passionate about their sport. So there has always been some sense of my table's better than your table, or what you're doing is wrong and I'm doing right. Or it's always been there. It's never not been there. But it never, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just, hindsight being 2020, nostalgia being not accurate. I don't remember it ever being as bad as it was till 4th edition started. And it sort of just never stopped. 4th edition was the Cold War, the Vietnam War of gaming, and 5th edition is now becoming the Civil War of gaming. And you wonder just where this is going to go. And why am I talking about this? Because it came up in a vlog. Somehow when I was talking about something, somebody went to 4th edition. Their anger at 4th edition, how disappointed their 4th edition was. And, it's like, I've talked about this before, man, but I'm trying to get over that. I was trying to live my life, but you keep dragging me back in. I did things in 4th edition, man. I did things in 4th edition I'm not proud of. I've got red in my book. I've got red in my ledger from the 4th edition wars, man. I'll never get clean of that. I'll never get clean of the things I did in 4th edition. So it seems like I can't go a few months without bringing up the 4th edition war. So I might as well at least have it fun of it at expense, because it really sort of was, and the way we talk about it is sort of almost reached that level of a really bad Vietnam documentary movie. I feel like it's got to be filmed in shaky 70 millimeter. We got to have some music from the 60s playing, like The Doors or the Mamas and the Papas. All the leaves are brown. We got to have the guy saying, I just never laughed. People hate 4th edition still to this day. And I'm not talking like I hate you the way I hate popcorn, because I hate popcorn, or I hate the fact you took my favorite show off the air. I mean, people hate 4th edition with a visceral, passionate, I want to hurt someone level of hate. And it's not like, and that level of hate is now being once again, coming to 5th and stuff, and everything that's going on lately. There's just, people are angry and hating on TSR, and it's like, you know what? 4th edition never came into your house and hurt you. It never killed your dog. It never robbed you. It never did anything. It was an edition of the game. But people hate 4th edition still to this day. It's just a scar we can't let heal. And you gotta think how much of what is happening right now with the whole D&D, Critical Role, Woke Fest, TSR, whatever the fuck it is we are angry about this week, is still just the fact that we're fighting the 4th edition wars. Those fires were never really out because it never really got as angry and violent and stupid and crazy as it did with 4th edition. When 4th edition really didn't do anything. The system is not responsible. On paper, the system is fine. It's just how we reacted to it. And I hate to defend Wizards of the Coast, and I know I have been called out for defending Wizards of the Coast and, saying things like, I'm not angry at them. And you look at every choice they made from day one to the day 4th edition sort of just closed and 5th edition became a thing. And you look at every choice you made, and they're just such bad choices. It's like almost like they did it on purpose, like they wanted 4th edition to fail. The choices are just so self-destructive. But then if you go back and you sort of unwrap it and pull away all the emotional subtext attached to it, then you're like, you know what? I'm reading this, and this makes sense. I see what you were trying to do, Wizards of the Coast, with 4th edition. It's just you did it so badly. You just did it every single solitary choice from beginning to end regarding how 4th edition was handled by Wizards of the Coast. Just so awful. And you took that and that already bubbling level of discontent in the gaming community just exploded with 4th edition, and it's never stopped. What could they have done different? And we've talked about this hundreds of times. And really, if we're talking about things like, the future that should have been, role-playing in the 1980s that never was, role-playing in a World War II that should have been, what the future that should have been with 4th edition, the reality, the timeline where this would maybe have been prevented or at least postponed, is if they had released the rule set and just called it something else. Call it the Magic the Gathering role-playing game. The thing that makes most sense is they should have released the rule set, called it Eberron. That's the timeline where this Infinity War of what's going on now maybe doesn't happen, or at least not happen as bad. If, when the Paizo stuff was starting to happen, when they're starting about thinking of like maybe it's time to do something new, our audience has changed, we've got to adapt, we've got all these ideas, we think this is what kids want. Let's release this and call it Eberron. We just got the Eberron shit. It's so different from typical D&D that we could release it as its own line. So let's take this rule set, release it in Eberron. See how well it plays out. A year from now, check in, see how people are reacting to Eberron, and if the response is positive, then say, hey, what would you guys think if we made this rule set 4th edition D&D? At which point people would have been like, yes, I think the Eberron RPG rule set would be great for 4th edition, because chances are people would have homebrewed it by then anyways. Or, no, this is horrible, dude. It is not 4th edition. It's not D&D, so yeah, and that should have been it. But they didn't. They had some ideas, and on paper those ideas are not bad. There's actually some good stuff in 4th edition, but from beginning to end, man, it was awful, man. It didn't start off awful, but just from the very beginning, when people were like, oh, did you hear what they did? Oh, did you hear about 4th edition? And then it just became, I'm angry. And then Paizo came along and milked that anger. And then the OGL came along and milked that anger. And it became way more of like Paizo OGL versus Wizards of the Coast. And everything Wizards of the Coast was doing seemed to be, let's create more stupidity and add more fire to this thing. And it just, people were getting physically violent over 4th edition. Now, somebody beating up a gamer, that's nothing new, but players beating up other players? Physical threats? Stores getting vandalized over 4th edition? I think somebody even got killed, if I remember correctly, though I'm probably wrong. It was awful. And yeah, there's other things that added to the formula. You can't blame 4th edition 100% for everything that happened during that time span. The world, just the where we were as a people, that all adds to it. But just, Never before 4th edition did it got as ugly. And never before, at least in my recollection, was there just such hate. Such just pure hate and bile and anger. As if this game system had actually done something to you personally. And now we're seeing it again. We're seeing it towards TSR, just this hate and anger. Look what TSR did. TSR came into my house and personally hurt me. Look what 5th edition did. I am so angry at 5th edition. 5th edition came into my house and hurt me. Wizards of the Coast did something, and I am so angry. I hate them so much. They hurt me so badly, when in reality, TSR has done nothing. Wizards of the Coast did nothing. 5th edition did nothing. 4th edition has done nothing to you personally. So there's no reason to hate them, but we do. And that's how this all started. And I don't know if it's ever going to end. I mean, what is the 50th edition wars going to look like when the anniversary rolls around in a couple of years? What is 6th edition wars going to look like? Where is this civil war going? What's next? A world war? The RPG apocalypse? It's like you can leave 4th edition, but you can never go home. Bam, 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 bam. Something happening here. What it is isn't exactly clear. There's a man sitting in a chair. He's rolling dice like he don't care. Everybody come on, you gotta stop. Children, look around. The 4th edition wars are coming down, yeah. Yeah. Gotta stop. Children, look around. The 4th edition wars are coming down, yeah. Yeah.